Devopam. Devopam is currently working as a technical architect in TCS USA. In last 15 years, he has worked with numerous projects such as developing cross-platform mobile application and building microservice ecosystem using Spring Cloud, Netflix OSS, so developing application using AWS ecosystem and so on. And Devopam has a keen interest in cybersecurity and the startup ecosystem. And so Devopam will share insight into different functionalities of full stack product development. So over to Mr. Devopam. Devopam, is it audible?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's audible. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, I think it's very early for him. I don't know what time it is, US time, 7:30 maybe.
So I will able to see my screen? Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So today I'll discuss the various application architecture, and based on that, I'll tell you what is required to learn or deliver a full stack development. Okay. So traditionally, so if we see prior to 70s or during 70s, most of the application that was built around mainframe based system, and all the screens were also used to be in the mainframe based system. But with the invent of like browser and web based technology in 90s and 2000, so we saw a different change. And so this is the architecture what we are seeing in the left. At that point of time, so every application that gone through a change, and every application was able to access via browser. So at that point of time, so all the code used to be in the server side. So from the mainframe, we moved everything from the server side. So either the server side component was written in Java or .NET. At that point of time, there is no .NET. Everything was in the VVs. Okay. So we had one portion of the code was written for the browser, which will take the data from the server. So this entire portion was from the server side. So and send it to the browser, and browser used to render the pages. So if you see Facebook or Google, everything, so the pages that comes from the server in a HTML form, and browser renders it. But backend, what happens is that there are various services is written, and it connects to multiple systems or is connected to the database. So this entire portion was in the server side, and this was written in the browser-based language, either in JSPs or ASPs. But in post 2010, or rather I'll say it's from the 2005, when the Ajax-based Ajax was invented or used extensively. It was started by Google to use it extensively. So there come various JavaScript frameworks like React, Angular, Vue. Those are certain framework which is really new. Prior to that, there was frameworks like EXT.js. Okay, so but those are all the JavaScript framework, and which used to started interacting with the server using certain technologies like JSON. So prior to that, so in this world, in the 90s and 2000, what we used to do, we used to call this directly call the server side components, like the method calls, what we see in the Java. So we used to write actual Java code and call the methods from the JSPs. Similarly, from the ASP pages, the C# codes. So similarly, but that's changed, and post Ajax based in the Ajax based world, so that has changed to a REST call, and all the data used to is going via JSON based API based call. So here, if you see in this layer, we used to call via method, but here we always call now, like in the 2010, we usually call by API. We call it API because we don't directly call those methods, and we call it via JSON, like we exchange the data via JSON. And similarly, see, these services has been broken into like granular services. So, and everything will be connected, but the technology still remains the same. So for this one, the server side portions is still the same, but it has been granular. Okay. I'll come what are the technologies that has been used, or probably you have to learn after I explain what are the different technologies. Now, if I break this into more granular way, so if you in the left side, whatever we have, I have described is called monolith. So entire application used to exist in a single server. But in post 2010, the application becomes heavy and it is unable to manage, or it is very difficult to manage. So that's why those applications was broken into multiple services, and it is moved towards many microservices architecture. Now, with the advent of like post 2010, so cloud platforms that becomes like necessary for the big companies, because there are like a lot of pros compared to the cons. So their architecture that is came into the picture is called cloud native architecture. So cloud native architecture is that something where still we will communicate using JSON based data transformation, but everything is independent. In the right side, I'll come to this later. So whatever Rohit explained is a ML and all those areas. Okay, but for the full stack development is the in the this one. So this UI is this one. So the top portion is the UI. So what happens? So all the web pages, let's say I have 5 functionalities. One is a search, one is the, let's say I'm the Amazon. So I'll search, I'll do the product selection, and then I'll purchase the product. So this will be broken into 3 or 4 different micro like pages, and all this will be deployed independently. They can talk to each other. Sorry. They can talk to each other. So these are the, let's say this is the search, this is the product selection, and this is the payment one. When they talk to their independent microservices. So and here I have broken into 2 different categories predominantly. One is application centric. Application centric, what it does, it will do the business logic. Let's say I am purchasing one product. But before purchasing one product, I have to see in the inventory, I have to see whether I have actual adequate amount of inventory or available for that particular product. One of the cases. Okay. So those business logic will be implemented in the application centric microservices. And the data centric microservices, what we usually do is that what it interacts with that data, like updating the inventory and all those. Okay. And all this, everything goes into the data store is called this is the database. But at the same time, it may happen that with so many systems in that particular enterprise, it calls other APIs, it calls some certain other subsystem. Let's say the payment is a different subsystem altogether. After purchasing, you enter your credit card or bank details, and it goes to third party site. The payment happens, and again it comes back to Amazon, right? So these are the third party integration. So in the left part is for all the application development, and whatever data we enter is from here, it has been taken care, or it has been shipped to other databases, which I mentioned is the transactional databases. From there, sorry, it goes to the data lake. So data lake is nothing but where is a big data repository, what Rohit mentioned. It can go to the Hadoop based system, and it goes via like cleaning, transformation, and from there it cleans up the data, because there are like huge set of data from which is not everything is relevant. From there it goes to like reporting, budgeting, and all those. At also at the same time it can go for the searching and all those. So this is for the different transformation applied onto this data lake. Now this entire thing which we can still, yeah, it's cloud native architecture, but everything we can build using the open source technologies which is available to the market. Now this exact same thing, if I have to build within Amazon, okay, like Amazon Web Services or any cloud platform, okay, the same similar architecture looks like this. So this is the web part. So in the, so this is, so everything will be stored in a S3 bucket where we can deploy our website, and whenever you will hit the URL, it renders the pages in your web page. But from there, for any application, it might looks like cumbersome, but it is like everything, all these things are cohesive, everything works with each other. So all this authentication will work with Amazon Cognito. So AWS provides like lot of tools which is out of the box. So I don't have to take care of a lot of things by myself. Okay, like the security, authentication, authorization, those things. So this is the Amazon AWS Cognito, which will be taken care by for the authentication, authorization. So, and also this is for the app analytics. So in this one, so as I showed, everything will be put into this data source, and from there it will go to this marquee data lake, from the clean data lake and all those. So entire data, all this data, it will go to the app analytics. So from my UI, from my server side and all those, I can go to put the data into the app analytics, and AWS automatically will take care of everything. All the application logs will go to CloudWatch logs. Similarly, so probably you are aware of the CRUD operations in your database technologies. You might have learned of the CRUD operations. So everything will be taken care by the AppSync. So AppSync will build a layer on top of your database, and it can generate APIs for that one. But you can definitely write your business logic using AWS Lambda. If you don't need any business logic, you can directly store it into the database. Okay, so this is very high level architecture where you can put the same things into AWS. Now coming back to what you have to learn. So first, for the web layer, so there are like three competitors now. One is the React, other is Angular, and third one is a Vue. And if we see the where it is being used, so it is used in like everywhere in the world, but it changes depending on the geography. Like in US, the most predominant technology is the React, but in India, so most predominant technology is here in Angular, but in China it's a Vue. But when I'm saying that US, India, and China, it's not like localized to those countries, but we see that development pattern. So these are the three technologies that is being used, like UI technology that is being used. Okay. React is the easiest to learn. Angular is the most manageable. It is steep learning curve, but it's really manageable for like huge application. And Vue is the blend of both. Either like it's between React and Angular. Now coming back to the server-side technologies. So in this one, so internal proxy and all those, it will be taken care by the products. Okay, if you directly put it into Amazon, so API gateway or AppSync will take care of those things. And if we have like, if you would like to build anything on-prem, like within the enterprises in-house applications, there like we can implement Apigee gateway, or like if it's a lightweight, we can have the Spring Cloud Zool, Spring Cloud gateway. So those things. For both application centric microservices and like any microservices, the competing was that .NET and the Java world. In the Java world, we mostly use Spring, but there are other competing products as available, like Istio is another product. And One other thing probably you would like to learn is either Docker and Kubernetes. So Docker and Kubernetes will, so if it is on premise, so we are not using AWS. So but if we have to have multiple instances, but and they want to talk to each other, those things. So for those cases, the Docker and Kubernetes is a very useful one. Okay. And also API integration is the same, similar to the microservices technology. Like we can use Spring, we can use .NET, we can use Python, and there's no limit. Okay. So this is in a nutshell what is the full stack development, what you have to learn. What you any question?
Okay, thank you, Devapam. Any question of this? So if you have any question, you can ask in chat window, or you can directly take the speaker. You can ask question.